All right.
Well, welcome everybody. Today's topic is, can men and women be just friends? Well, this is what you call cross-sex relationships, and people have often said, well, it's not possible, and others have said, well, it is very possible. Someone said, no, there's always going to be one person with a hidden agenda. Now, for those of you joining us for the first time, this is the Real Views. Do well to subscribe on YouTube, Real Views, and then on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. It's Real Views 2021. The topic again today is, can men and women be just friends? Now, I'm going to leave you open then. Now, like we've had, those of you who follow Steve Harvey, he said at some point, men and women cannot be friends. There's always going to be somebody. There's always one person who always wants more. It could either be the guy or the girl, but there's always one person who wants more. And because, you know, the other person is not really willing to give that, then they tend to stay in the friend zone, waiting to pounce when they get the chance. So I'm putting it out there to the house. Do you think men and women can be just friends? Who wants to go first?
Well, I've actually had this debates with a couple of people, I think about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, when this movie first came on Netflix, Camberley. I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the movie Camberley. Starring, what's her name now? This lady. Can't remember her name, but I mean, if you check Camberley on Netflix, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm one of those people that actually believes that it's possible for a guy and a girl to actually have a normal relationship, almost like best buds. But I mean, this is where discipline has to come in. There's really no how you're not going to feel something for the other person. But then if you have respect for yourself, you have respect for the person, you have respect for each other's individual relationships, I'm pretty sure you have to, you learn to discipline yourself. I think for me, it's just...
Well, in that sense, that means that there's one person who's holding back, just like we said before. So that's not really, that what you're essentially saying is, well, we can be friends if one is disciplined. As what we're saying is it possible for men and women to be just friends where there's no extra feelings from both sides?
I don't know about extra feelings. You might be really proud of a particular opposite sex friend, and it's, I mean, the tingling feeling that you're getting about that person is almost as if you are in love with.
Oh my God!
Again, that is where discipline actually. That is where.
No, but honestly, I think I get where Andrew is coming from, because the thing is, if you have to discipline yourself, then that means there's one person who's feeling something.
Exactly.
Right? We're talking about, is it possible for two people to just be friends without zero sexual feeling involved? Exactly. I think so. Like, as a girl, as a woman, I have more guy friends than I do girlfriends. Now, I'm talking from my own perspective now and for myself. I haven't had that type of feeling for them where I want to take it to the next level. But do they feel something else for me? That I can't answer.
Good,
right? But honestly, as a woman, I truly prefer to have guys as friends.
All your friends are suffering.
They are suffering.
Well, they are suffering. They don't know how to tell you, but they are suffering.
Well,
so okay. Well, I guess you're the person, you don't think guys and girls can be friends like that at all.
No. I honestly believe that guys and girls can be friends. I've been totally. However, it is one thing to be friends.
I mean,
it's another thing to work out feelings. You get? I believe they can be friends. Everything is possible. But I have a fear that at some point in time, being human beings, stuff happen. Even though you don't plan it from the get-go, but stuff happen. So, and as our brother rightly said, it's then about self-control and that. But area your friends are self-enjoying.
Well,
okay.
I'm not suffering.
Well, it might not be you, but what about the other side? We don't know.
That's why I said, honestly, I can't speak for the other parties, right? For my other friends. I can't speak for them, but speaking for myself, I have a lot of guy friends. I mean, Drew, you and I have been friends since when?
From childhood.
God, are you the one that Andrew, oh my God, you're the one that has been suffering Andrew since. Andrew is the one, right?
No, it can't be me. Andrew is not into black girls, sorry.
Please, Carol, we cannot make such assumptions. But,
sorry.
Right.
What are you trying to say? Okay, Andrew, let me ask you. Have you ever been into me?
No.
Exactly. And I've never been into you, but we are like,
I believe that guys and girls can be friends, but I think it also depends on the circumstances. Like Sharon, for example, we've just been like brother and sister. It's just been like that. There's no. Anastasia has a hand up. Anastasia, you want to say something?
Yeah, sure.
Go on.
Okay. For me, it's actually very possible to be friends with guys because all my life I have more male friends.
That's
like
right.
I don't even dig the female company like that.
That's right.
I'm a G, like we all G up like that. But the thing is, from the guy's angle, I've had a couple of friends that we've been friends for over a decade now that have made passes on me at first. You get? We're friends, but they try to like, okay, maybe touch me, hug me in a very, you get, and I'd be like, yo, nigga, what's up? Like, there and then we just trash it. Don't play me like that. And then we get to understand. I just let certain things just slide, and then we become real good friends. You get? But you disrespect me once, you disrespect me the second time. I don't think that kind of friendship, you could actually rape me. Do you understand? So I feel it's really, really possible for both sex to be friends. Like I always go like my friendship goes a long way. Like sex spoil things. That's for real. Sex spoil things.
Well,
there's someone you really sex really spoil things because we're just going to have sex. That's it. We're not going to do anything with ourselves.
It can make it very awkward, yeah.
Exactly. So I want you to be my friend. Even when I have my own family tomorrow, I would want to see you and be like, yeah, this person, hug you and all that without feeling like, okay, I once had something with this guy from the past and all of that. So I value friendship more than even intimate relationship with friends. Like, I want to be your friend. Let's be friends. Like, let's be friends. So I think it's very possible.
Okay. That's a good view. Now, Kalu has his hand up as well. Ambassador
Okay,
Kalu.
brother. Thank you very much. This is a very interesting discussion going on here. I will make my contribution here citing what Robert Greene in his book, The Laws of Human Nature. I do not know if anyone has read that book. The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Now, in page 124, there is a type of people he calls sexualizers, okay? The sexualizer, and this is what he said about the sexualizer. They seem charged with sexual energy in a way that is refreshingly unpressed. They have a tendency to mix work with pleasure, to blur the usual boundaries for when it is appropriate to use this energy. And you might imagine that this is healthy and natural, but in truth, it is compulsive and comes from a dark place. In their earliest years, such people probably suffered sexual abuse in some way. This could have been directly physical or something more psychological, which the parent expressed through looks and touching that was subtle but inappropriate. A pattern is deeply set from within and cannot be controlled. They will tend to see every relationship, note this, they will tend to see every relationship as potentially sexual, okay? So if peradventure you meet a sexualizer and maybe at work, maybe your body at church, or your body at the golf club, or the karaoke place, and you have this equal, nothing hidden behind your intent to be friends with this person. But because of these antecedents, how this person was raised up, and his tendency to always interpret every relationship in a sexual way, in a sexualized way, he will not balance up that relationship to be, black and white. So this is, there are categories of people that you don't, no matter how you try to balance it up, they will want to demand for that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, that's a great point, but these are exceptions.
All right, go ahead.
Like these are exceptions, I believe, and like you rightly said, like Robert Greene said, they might have, that would stem from issues they've had growing up, and so that's what you call what you would refer to as people who there's some kind of emotional imbalance. So which means
that's
that
correct.
because of this emotional imbalance, they can't actually view friendship in what you would regard the normal way. But the thing is, you're thinking of those who are what we would again call what's normal, but that's a different debate. But what we would call, the average person now who doesn't have any emotional baggage, for example. Do you think for the average person, would you say that, they can't be friends with the opposite sex with, or just
it
friends
depends.
with nothing sexual?
It depends on the context both people find themselves. Both by the person who's saying that she will never, I think Ariel is saying that she will never go into, extend that relationship to the other level or down south, all right? Yeah. But if both of them find themselves in a very close micro environment where, I mean, emotions are things which continue to fail us. Emotions are ephemeral. They continue to fail us. That is why many people have gotten into situations where they lost it, because they over-trusted their emotions. You cannot trust your emotions. The basis of you handling your emotions is dependent on the level of admittance to a situation that can bring down those emotions, that can bring down your guard. So it's a relative factor. If they find themselves in a situation where their guards may be let down, Andrew, I tell you, we are human beings and blood flows in our veins.
Well, is anyone else who would want to respond to Khalid's view and to Anastasia's view? Emeka, say something. Yeah, go on.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
We're here. We can hear you.
Yeah, I beg to differ a little bit about what the last speaker just said. I think Carlo is his name.
Yeah.
When he talked about emotions and all of that going wild, there's what we call discipline. To a large extent, you can discipline. You know yourself what you are capable of doing, but perhaps maybe because of the confinement of area, or it could even be weather factor, maybe extreme cold, you are chilled up and everything, and you guys are both chilled up. There's nothing warm to keep, maybe like a drink, a coffee or whatever warm drink to make you warm, except yourselves. And you just find yourself, you are hugging yourself from there, you are going the further mile. But at times, what I'm trying to stress here is that discipline, again, goes a long way. That's how you discipline yourself. You know that, man, if you're caught in such a tight spot, you'll still be able to wrangle out of it. But most of the time, it's not easy, but it's possible. You know yourself. So that word, discipline, is what I want to put out there. Then, secondly, about the opposite sex having a relationship without sexual input. I don't think, for me personally, it's possible. It's very possible, but at the same time, it's not necessarily something that can go on like that, because you like somebody for a particular reason. It might not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be because of the sexual aspect of it. The person could be intelligent in a way and contributes to your, IQ level. And when you share things together, you guys you find the person very attractive from that intelligence perspective now. And even if she has big butt or her front side is so luscious, looks very attractive, you wouldn't be seeing that as it is, but rather what she's saying and what she's discussing with you, with the topics people talk about. Oh, man, I like this person. This person is so brainy and everything. You guys could roll like that, flow like that. Okay. But that sexual aspect, you just leave it there.
Well, what I've gathered so far from the last three speakers, from Kalu, from Anastasia, and from Emeka now, is what you've essentially said is they can't be friends, but you are also, but you are all based in it, and you're saying they're friends dependent on discipline. And that's why the issue is, if you have to discipline yourself, like Sharon said, then there is a slight issue. And also know that when you talk about this discipline, like they say, this is a joke, by the way, they say men have two brains, one up and one down. Once the one upstairs is working, the one downstairs is off work, it's asleep. The one downstairs, once it comes alive, then is, the one upstairs goes to sleep. So, but if you have to think like that and have to say, well, if you can't get the one upstairs to engage, if you have to really consciously be disciplined, then that means that there is more, and you just have to stay controlled. Now, the people have their hands. Tamara and Imola, do you have your hands up? Okay, yes. Tamara will go first. After Tamara, Imola will go. Go. Okay. Tamara, I hear you.
I don't think there's anything wrong in being disciplined in terms of that. It's just like being disciplined in other aspects of your life. So for me, I feel like you can still have a friend, and yeah, at some point, the friend can actually want that, but maybe when you say, no, I don't want, and there's nothing wrong in saying you're being disciplined, don't hug me, since you're in a confined environment, and there's a tendency of you or the guy, let's say the guy, because for the ladies, I know most times we can be so ready to hold, but maybe for the guys. So let's say you're in a confined place and this guy really wants to hug and all that, and you can sense, because we can actually sense. So I still feel like, yeah, you can still tell the guy, stop it, no hugging, like, don't hug, reset your brain. And he will still reset it. And for me, it still doesn't change the relationship. And it still doesn't mean that you and the opposite sex can be friends because he's thinking that way and all that. So I still feel like discipline as well still goes a long way. You can still be disciplined in your same sex by not talking too much or not doing one thing or the other. So I don't think being friends with the opposite sex and the opposite sex is thinking, I'm seeing you in a light like, okay, I don't mind having this with this person, can change the friendship. Yeah, some people might not like it, but I still feel like if that person cares so much about your friendship, the person will wait that, even if that thought is coming and stuff like that. So discipline goes a long way, and it still doesn't change the fact that the opposite sex will think. Sometimes, what if it's even the female that is even seeing the guy in that light, and the guy is also not seeing the female in that light?
Okay, thank you very much, Tamara. Imole, do you want to go?
Hello. Okay, sir. I would say, as another graduate and an engineer in school, okay, I have this friend of mine, which she's a girl. Well, what got us together was her own intellectual knowledge. She's very sound, and she's a mechanical engineer. So we offered courses together, but there's nothing beyond friends between us. One thing is that I go to her for help. She helps me, and anything I have in my power, like any hour I can help her too. We help each other. But what Mr. Emeka and Mrs. Tamara said about discipline, when you talk about discipline, okay, you discipline yourself, but not to the extent of being in a confined area. Let me use my own time as an electrical engineer. Okay, emotions, or let me use that as sexual stimuli. It's just like an electric current. It's part. When it sees a conductor, it goes straight. When there's no insulation, just go straight.
Oh yeah, take us there, please.
This guy deserves a dabbing. He deserves a dabbing salute.
I'm a guy. I know what I can do. So
yeah, can I put?
Right, okay.
I think we lost his audio there.
Yeah, I think we've lost his audio. Thank you very much, Mole.
Can I respond to him? I think I wish
he's deep into this.
Well, I think
deep into this thing. You can't hear us.
Mark Job, do you want to go?
Yeah.
Go on.
I think from my observation is by the time you're talking about discipline and all that, you're already fighting something. The purpose of this conversation is it possible or is it impossible? So if there is the issue of fighting an urge, just like Imole was trying to explain to us, the scientific element of it, that once there's a stimuli and conductor and all those smart things he was talking about, it goes to show that it's gone beyond that. So for you to be looking for discipline, it shows that it's already established. But here's my observation. I feel like it's a yes and no situation. Yes, because, we have friends who have spouses, who have girlfriends, who are your friends. So these are girlfriends of your friend and they become your friend.
Yeah.
They are like your sister. You will do anything for them. You support them. The love that you have for your friend or your cousin or your family member, you transfer it to them and they become your friends. You have old school mates. It's not everybody that is attracted to everybody, So what's the background noise? So we are not like animals that are just attracted to anything. Is what I mean. So it's possible to have friendship, either because you went to school together some time ago, or because you work together in the same establishment, and you kind of help each other. Like so for instance, where I work, there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people where we kind of edge each other on, like, oh, have you heard about this new role? They're applying. Let me send you a link. These are friends of yours. But it's not like every time you're looking at them, because you have like 20, 30 people. How many people do you want to look at? So you have people who are your friends and you are not even thinking that way. So it's possible to have friends. But then on the other side, where Emeka was alluding to, where you have to discipline, that's where the no comes in, where these people are supposed to be friends, but you actually care about them, to the point that if you are left alone, something might lead to another. And that is where it becomes a problem. So, but then because we are conscious human beings, then you make a decision. Then it's a decision. This friendship. So I think, was it the lady that spoke prior to now, was it Tamara, was talking about this whole guy, don't touch. Once you get to that point, you're already in a crisis.
Yeah.
Because when somebody is now trying to hug and you're saying, no, don't hug me, that friendship is already in jeopardy. Because you are now fooling yourselves. The guy wants more than friendship. You are saying, no, stay there. You are kidding. You are kidding, because it's just plotting until today. God forbid, it will either lead to rape or your relationship will just decapitate. So for me, I feel like it's, again, one of those situations where it's not black, it's not white, it's gray. But I think what's important, the one needs to be aware. The person that spoke before Emeka was speaking really philosophically, like emotions fail you. And with most of us in our relationships, sometimes you don't realize that you already started falling for people. You are there before you know. 1 minute, my friends, it's just, we're just friends. And then you realize, oh my God, we are not just friends. The day you find Andrew talking to her and then you lose your mind, like, what's Andrew saying? Why is he talking to you? That's when you know that this person that you thought was just your friend is more than your friend in your brain. So you see, your emotions let you down. You thought you had it, but you don't. So to wrap it up, for me, it's a yes and a no.
Thank you very much, Mark Job. Now, Bola has a hand up. Bola, do you want to come in?
Yes. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, so I just want to add to what the last speaker said. It's a yes and a no for me as well. So a yes in the sense that a guy and a girl can be platonic friends. But the friendship is basically, how do I describe it? It depends on the level of friendship. if you're just regular friends, like colleagues and school buddies, then it's very possible for you to have just a regular friendship without anything developing from it. However, if the friendship is on a best friend level, where you guys are basically sharing everything there is about each other, where there's a level of intimacy that has developed, where basically even the person's girlfriend or the female's boyfriend doesn't know you on the same level that the best friend does, it kind of leads to, how do I put it, almost like a peer pressure or societal view where everybody believes that there's something going on, even if there isn't. And as they also said, the past speaker said, emotions might also come into play, because you guys have developed this level of intimacy where you feel like, oh, this is like my person, like my soulmate or something. Yeah, you've gotten to such a cool level where emotions develop. So you can be regular friends and also a feeling can develop. I don't know if that if I'm able to explain myself well.
Yeah, you did. Thank you very much, Bola. But the thing again is, like what my said earlier, is if once you start to go to where feelings develop, then there is a problem. It's simply, like you say, it's simply yes or no. It's, of course, it's not always black and white. There is gray, but you know, like you say, it's pretty straightforward. It's once feelings start to come in, then that takes us to the fact that to know that you can't be just friends. But also, Imole did mention that, you know, he believes that they can be friends, and he did say, you know, I have this friend at school that I'm, you know, I feel like I'm quite attracted to. Well, what I would like to ask is, if you had the chance to date her, would you, Imole, for example? Or if it was the other way around, if she said, come Imole, let's hang out and let's bang, would you?
Imole already wants to marry her. He just doesn't realize it yet.
Yeah, well,
Imole is already in love.
No. So everybody has their taste. So she is not my taste, but based on her own intellectual knowledge, that's the reason why I'm attracted to her. Like, based on what I want to get from her, like she teaches me some art, because I'm not really good in engineering mathematics. So when I have problems in engineering mathematics, I go to her. She teaches me, and some other courses like electromagnetism and some other art courses where sometimes I do get some things. So I go to her and she teaches me. Like, then there are some other things where she can gain from me too, because I am a graphic designer, a video editor, and also a cartoon animator. So in that aspect, sometimes she may need help in that aspect. Then I give it to her. I design for
Imole, Imole, you are going to have very brilliant children. Your children are going to be so smart.
Excuse me, my hands are
Tamara has been talking behind the screen. Now Tamara keeps muttering. Now Tamara, is there anything you want to say? You keep smiling and keep making comments.
No, I'm trying to say, Imole, in summary, just summary. So, are you willing? Are you going to? Because from attraction, mental attraction, it gets to the other attractions.
No. Can I just say something, please? No. Because my hands have been up. Andrew, with your permission, please.
I thought you didn't put it down. That's why.
Okay.
Go on. I thought you didn't know your hand from the first time.
All right, no problem. I would like to respond first to Emeka, who first talked about discipline. And I'm going to respond to Imole, who is so engrossed in his confidence that he's a graphic designer and nothing is going to happen.
Can I just
let me say something.
Is my graphic designer, by the way. So please,
okay.
Show him love.
Oh, that is so nice.
Imole,
you're going to fall so hard for that girl, Imole.
Can I make my submission quickly? You see, Emeka, no matter how disciplined you are, Imole, no matter how you think that you don't have any interest to go a step further, your perception on discipline is a factor of the situation where you allow yourself to be in. If, for instance, you tell yourself, you make yourself believe that you are so disciplined that you cannot smoke weed, and every evening you go to the place where people smoke weed, I tell you, in some few days or in some few moments, you wouldn't even know when you start sharing the weed to them. When it comes to matters of sexual attraction, I have said it before, people have failed. Their discipline have failed them. In fact, the day that your confidence in your discipline will fail you, Imole, you will be drawing that engineering drawing and engineering mathematics inside her pants. Your hand will be inside there. You will leave the paper that you are using to draw the thing you want to draw. You will be entering inside. In fact, as you're entering,
this is a family show.
This
is a family show.
Please. No, I mean, the program is structured in a way that we can speak freely, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I believe that we are adults here. Is that it, or should I just?
Yes,
I can adjust.
No,
if there are kids here, I can adjust.
Where you are drawing things inside somebody's mouth.
There are people in most churches, for instance. You see them speaking in tongues. They say they are speaking in tongues. They're speaking in tongues. They're trusting themselves. Okay. They trust themselves, but I tell you, you don't play with your emotions, because your emotions are things which you have little control of. So the best thing to do is that no matter if you, in fact, it was when I went to Europe that I began to hear about this best friends thing. In fact, I could see somebody, she would tell me, there's nothing going on with us. He's my best friend. She's my best friend. We are best friends. And before you know what is happening, those best friends start making out, okay? Going as further as having sex with each other. And when you ask them, they tell you, oh, we didn't know what happened, but we've been best friends. The problem was that they trusted themselves so much and overlooked the fact that sexual attraction is emotional, but it is dependent on the situation, how much you expose yourself, how much you let your guards down. So we have to be very, very careful not to just base on any form of discipline we think we may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, Imola, before we come to you, Bumi has his hand up. After Bumi, we'll have Michael. After Michael, then we'll come to Imola. Is that okay? All right, so Bumi, let's hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I want to direct my comments or my question directly to Imole. The first question I want to ask him is, are you in a relationship or are you single?
I'm single.
All right, so you're single.
Yes, and I have my reasons.
You have your reasons.
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. I'm not going to ask what your reasons are, but I mean, your reasons, do they prevent you from exploiting or exploring the feelings, or, I mean, are you even in any way attracted to her in any way?
Hello.
Apart from the intellectual. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I said, apart from the intellectual attraction that you have for her, is there any, do you care for her? Do you have any other sort of responsibility towards her? I mean, those are some subliminal signals that you're probably more, you're sort of attracted to her in a romantic way. Do you feel jealous when other guys are talking to her? So these are clear, these are clear indications that you're romantically attracted to.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
so if
go on.
Like that, I mean, I think it's something you should explore and decide. This you need to also decide. You need to decide: do you want to be involved with her romantically or not? If not, don't really sweat it, man. Just decide.
Just a quick response, Bumi. Thank you very much. But this is not a question in Mola Day. I mean, we could just make a straight point, but not put him on the spot like that.
Okay, then it's for everybody. It's for
I completely understand where you are going. I completely understand it. If it's like, I completely get your point. Now, Michael, do you want to come? Come on.
No, mine is more, because this argument is so interesting. I think we need a musical break. And I want us to just remember the words of our brother Davido, who says, he called me brother, I call him sister too. So that's so that's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Right, Imole, go on. Your hand was up, Imole.
Yes, okay, sir. I think the last two speakers, I was talking about discipline. Okay, that's why I emphasized on that discipline in my first conversation. I said something about discipline, that if I don't want something, then I won't go to the extent of, taking tutorials with her in a confined place. At least whenever I'm going to her, it's either in a class where people are, where there are a lot of people, or because I am not the only one taking tutorials with her, or we are like 2 or 3. So when we talk about discipline, so discipline is just like keeping yourself and restricting yourself from going beyond some certain boundary. But when you are talking about going in the night, then going in the night and a silent place, or let me say a place where there's nobody, or maybe in a room, personally, you are going beyond your boundary. So that is not discipline per se. You're already going beyond the boundary.
Right. Now, thank you very much, Amale. Philip had his hand up. Philip.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very interesting conversation. So what I want to say is, I think the sense of what I'm getting is that we're isolating 2 individuals in terms of friendship. And for me personally, I think it goes beyond the 2 people that are engaged in whether they just want to be friends or not. I give instances of peer pressure where some of your friends are like trying to perhaps, force you guys to go beyond whatever. And it doesn't take place at an instance. So it's not as if you are in a room thing. It's not as if you meet yourself in the classroom thing. You understand? For me, I think it's something that builds up over time. It conditions your mind, it conditions your perception about that. Perhaps it starts from even the subconscious. So what goes on in like 3 seconds, whether you are disciplined or not, is a buildup of what may have happened within either of you, or the kind of even discussions that you have had, even maybe not about yourselves, about other people, for instance. So the point I'm trying to make is that in determining whether you're just going to be friends or going to go to the next level, it goes beyond just the 2 parties themselves. It goes beyond a mother telling the lady that she must get married on time, for instance. It goes beyond a guy who has just been yabbed by his friends that you can't even speak to that lady, you're a fool and people are looking at you. So these other factors come, around, and they build over time, to influence whether you're going to stop at a level or not. And that's why when some things happen, immediately you get into those kind of acts, you regret like 5 or 2 or 4 steps. I'm not talking from experience, but I've heard a lot of stories where perhaps, yeah. So perhaps,
You are definitely talking from experience, Uncle. Today is Sunday.
So I think, so that's my own set to say, let's consider the environmental context in which these people, are interacting and relating, and the kind of pressure that you're trying to resist, so that when we talk about emotions failing, when we talk about people not being able to control themselves, perhaps the locus of control goes from the internal context to the external at times.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you very much. But again, by the time like you point you raised, if you say it's beyond those 2 people, so you're talking peer pressure, then it becomes what we're talking about. Those 2 people who are we are now working on the assumption that these 2 people are right, and so irrespective of peer pressure, we're saying what are the intentions. And then I go back to what most of us have said about discipline. Like Imola said, if you have to bring in discipline, like Joba said, then clearly you're just trying to now not ruin the friendship or just trying to control it. Does that make sense? Now, I'll give you a perfect example. Now, for those who are straight, for example, now, do you feel, let's say you are in a confined space with a guy, if you're a guy or if you're a girl, or with a girl, and assuming you're straight now, like you're heterosexual, do you feel any discipline to hold yourself back? I would imagine not. Exactly. Now, so because you just see them as friends, you don't see them that way because you are straight, right? It's the same thing. So if you do not see them, or you see them as just friends and nothing more, then there will be no need for to struggle with. There'll be no fight for discipline. That does not make sense. And then
yes, it makes sense. Yes, it makes sense. Sorry, Sandra here. Hello.
Go on, go.
Hi, Sandra.
Yeah, how you did?
Sorry, can I just say something? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Tamara. Sorry.
Go on.
No, I thought Tamara wanted to say something. Let her say then I'll say what I'm.
It's Bola here.
That it actually makes sense. Like there will be no need for discipline if you're just seeing that person as just friends.
Well, exactly. That's the key thing. Okay, choose about. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Bola is saying something. Sorry, Bola is saying something. Go ahead.
Okay, so the key word here is see the person. So in that moment, you don't see them as someone sexual. In that instant, you don't see them. That's the key word. See them. You don't perceive them to be as attractive. What if somebody comes to you and puts the thoughts in your head and say, okay, oh, you've been friends with this guy. Okay, for example, say there's a guy called Efosa. Sandra, don't laugh. Say there's a guy called Efosa, yeah? And you've been friends for 2. I'm just making an example, please. So for the past 2 years, you guys have been friends and it's completely platonic. And then somebody comes from nowhere and says, oh, this guy is actually really attractive. And you kind of start seeing them in a new light. And they become attractive to you.
Absolutely.
That basically changes the whole premise of what we are discussing. That changes it totally.
Okay. Who wants to respond to Bola?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I feel like, yes, that's true. But I also do say a lot. I say this a lot. Our mind is very strong. Oh, trust me. When people say things like, oh, they couldn't control themselves, I laugh because it's like, are you serious? Our minds, our brains, our minds is a very, very strong thing if we decide to tap into it. Like I can actually be very, very good friends with somebody. And, somebody put that thought in my head and like, oh, makes me feel like, okay, this person is actually very, very fine. Why don't you think you guys can date? And for the fact that I just don't want to have any sexual connection with the person, I can, just channel my mind into it won't even happen.
Yeah, sure. I think the example is different. The example she was giving is different. Nobody can talk you into finding somebody attractive if you are not there yourself.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. If you're not thinking, even if the person tries to make me want to see the person as sexually,
that's what I'm saying. That's impossible. So I think the point she was making.
Trust me, I've had that. I will tell you from experience. I've had somebody who came up to me, and the first reason the person actually came up to me was because the person wanted to have a relationship with me. That's simple. Now, it's not about the person not being my type or not being. The person was fine, treated me nice, but in my head, I didn't want to have a relationship. I wasn't in the right frame of mind for a relationship. Yeah. So no matter how the person,
that's the difference there. It's because your mind is not ready for anything. Even if Brad Pitt was stood in front of you, there's no chance.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a different example she was giving. The example she was giving is when you're already open.
Okay.
It's just a case of initiative is lacking. The guy has not toasted you, he's not said anything. All of you are just, this Andrew group now. We are all just meeting every Sunday and we're just talking. And then it's like, my job is kind of cute, or don't you think so? So that's where it starts. But you will have noticed that this my job guy is kind of cute. That's where it starts. You see what I mean? Then they sow the seed in your head and then it's on. And then the only thing is for the next person to slide into the next person's DM. But that's not what I'm trying to really say. I was just trying to shed light on that. For me, I still like the example that Undubisi made, that your emotions will let you down 247. So that we don't digress too much, I want us to bring it back into the two characters in play, the guy and the girl. who claim that they are friends with each other. If the guy is not dating and the girl is not dating, and like Imole, they are just hanging out, helping each other, once you start to care for somebody, once you start to help somebody make it in life, you start to help them achieve their goals. They have a bad day, they call you, this idiot at my workplace. Trust me, the emotions will creep up on you before you know it. Absolutely. I believe in this strongly.
Thank you very much, Magdu. Thank you. That's right. I think as beautiful as it sounds, the argument has really been wonderful. We're coming to the end. We have time against us now. Now, for next week, do you remember those of us who were here, we had a serious debate last week, and it was, can you truly, reasonably, and equally love more than one person? Now, that was the part one, and some people called for part two, Mark Job and Chizoba specifically, and I think Michael as well. So, in fact, my job actually said we'll die here. So, next week's topic is, can you truly, reasonably, and equally love more than one person? Now, for those of us joining us for the first time, again, it's The Real Views. Please do subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Real Views 2021. It's been great conversations.